The New York Jets got one of the top steals of free agency that no one is talking about. We'll fix that real quick, like. Boy Green Daily starts now.
I'm gonna lose my gas darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Let's go!
Put your seatbelts on. Get ready for the ride. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Paul Esden Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcast. We have a full article in the YouTube description down below on this very topic matter. Feel free to like the video and hit subscribe. Also, let's flip the banner immediately. Here are our top 5 raffle gifters so far this month. J-Boy in first place with 41 raffle tickets. A-Step 10 with 25 raffle tickets. Devin and Dick Chimney's Burner with 10 raffle tickets. They're tied. And then Ed Vargas with 5. And for Lillian Big D and Bubba Badshaw with 3 raffle tickets so far this month. And I want to give a shout out right off the top of the show because we got a couple of super thanks this week from our guy A-Step 10, who gifted $24.99 yesterday. A-Step 10, thank you so much. And that was added to your raffle ticket total. Beautiful. And what you guys are all competing for this month is this wonderful prize pack, the official 2025 Jets draft hat, the official Jets 2025 draft shirt, and the movie Draft Day. Again, you guys only have 10 more days to submit your raffle tickets to be eligible for this. Raffle tickets are $2.99 a piece. You can get a raffle ticket for this contest by purchasing a Boy Green Coffee Club membership. That's always available in the YouTube description down below. Join the Boy Green Coffee Club here. It allows you to become a YouTube member. It gives you a raffle ticket to this contest. And there's all the perks of being a Boy Green Coffee Club member, unlocking our emojis, access to our Discord channel, and so much more. Or you could gift channel memberships on YouTube. If you see the little money sign, if you're watching on YouTube right now, click that. Final option is gift channel memberships. You could gift as many as you'd like. We also accept Super Chats, PayPal, and Venmo. With that being said, let's bring in our special guest normally every Saturday here on the program. That is none other than Hop on Pop. What's up?
Hey
Pop?
now. How's it going?
Not too shabby. It's going well. It's good for it. And Clifford S. is like, I made it live. Let's go. There you go, baby. Every single morning at 7:30. But appreciate, quick shout out to the people that watch the replay, catch it on the rebound, and also the audio-only version of the podcast. We always appreciate, no matter how you consume this program. Well said. And then let's both give a big hello to your wife and my mother, Michelle Eston. There you go. Good
Hey
morning.
now.
Good morning, Mom. Imam G. Let me find that real quick.
The
Throw that
Imam
up.
G hot G.
There we are. Okay, that's gross, but anywho, Imam G, there you are.
All right, let's get off Mom's. I just got off yours.
Oh,
Hey
right
now.
then. That's wildly inappropriate, but anywho, let's try to shift the topic matter as quickly as possible, and we'll go to AG, and the player that I think is this great steal, and we'll see if my father agrees with me, is Chuks Okorafor, a 27-year-old veteran offensive tackle that's played in the NFL for 7 years. This would be his 8th year playing as he's set to appear for the 2025 season. The first 6 of which were spent with the Pittsburgh Steelers, last year with the New England Patriots, where he only appeared in 12 snaps week 1, and then he was placed on the exempt left squad list and didn't play for the rest of the year. The Patriots, right ahead of free agency, cut him. The Jets scooped him up. But what the hell happened? And we've been waiting for AG, a.k.a. Aaron Glenn, to speak on this, and he did at the annual league meetings. Let's hear from Coach Glenn.
With the tackle that you signed for New England.
Yep, one more second, sorry.
With the tackle that you signed for New England. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name. We're going to call him Chuks.
I'm not going to try to pronounce his
Chuks,
name either.
let's call him Chuks, right?
I like it.
The story about he left the team in New England.
Yeah.
How much investigation did you have to do on that to find out what happened, and how did you reach a comfort level with a guy leaving the team?
We did a good amount of investigation on that. And to me, being able to talk to the player and trusting the player and trusting his process is important. And I think that goes with every player. I try to make it a point to have a conversation with every player on that team, and just get a chance to know who they are. And same thing in the free agent process. Get a chance to talk to every player and get a chance to understand who they are. And I felt comfortable with his answers. So I think he's a really good player. He's going to get a chance to go out there and compete. Obviously, we're trying to build this O-line to be a dynamic O-line, and we feel like he could be a piece of that puzzle.
Now, there's a lot to get into here, Pop, including Chukwuma's story, which we'll get into in a second. Yes, the greatest band of all time. Shout out to Brett Michaels, wherever you may be. My Pop wearing that shirt for those listening on the audio-only version. But, Father, what did you think of his answer? Because he talked about wanting to talk to every player on the team. And like I said, there's a lot of rumors, and I'll share what I know in a little bit about this story. But there's a lot of rumors about what happened here. And AG said, I wanted to talk to the player himself, sit him down, ask him those pressing questions, and whether or not he was comfortable with the answers, obviously, would lead to a signing or no signing. What did you make of how he handled that situation?
Yeah, that's pretty. Before we get to that, it's pretty interesting. In the words of Bobby the Brain Heenan,
wow.
Easy is a ham and egger. But anyways, there you go. It just popped up there. Ham and egger.
I see that. Yeah, very nice.
That is a little different kind of
Bobby Heenan doesn't get a lot of quotes. That's underutilized. God bless. Okay. Yeah.
All right, ham and egger. I would tell you this, as somebody that has had varying amount of people that have worked for me over my many-year career. I won't say how many years I've been in a leadership role, 37. But I would tell you that I've had, 5 people to at one time over, people that generally reported to me. The number was quite large, 1,500. So I would tell you that the NFL is pretty unique and that the coaching staff, what is that? Here's a question for you. Okay. How many coaches does Aaron Glenn have on his staff?
I could count that in a second, but I would assume if I had to guess, like maybe 10 to 15
total, his entire coaching staff.
Yeah, I would say, unless we're counting strength and conditioning and stuff like that. I was just talking about
people, touch point, non-players.
Oh, well,
I'm not talking about you, Bobby Boucher. I'm talking about actually people that have different aspects where they interact with the player.
200 maybe.
Yeah. So, anyways, the NFL is dynamic. The reason, the whole purpose of that is the ratio of interactions, of one-on-one interaction. You can really know people, right? Mm-hmm. How many players, right, on the 53-man roster? How many people are on the 53? That's today's question. The trivia question for the people in the comments: how many people are on the 53-man roster? That's right. 48. But no, anyways. And so you have the ratio of coaches to people. So you should know them. You have the opportunity to know them. And in May, June, this time of frame, leading up to, you have like 100, right? And even we can't discount the practice squad, which has become much more significant after COVID, right? Now it's 15 players, I believe.
16, as a matter of fact.
16, right? And it used to be 5, right? It used to be not, so there's more to that, but you still have the time to get to know your players. And as a leader, you have to know your people, right? This is a very unique situation, this is an example of where you have to know the person and not just take the story at face value. If I didn't know better, I would say that on my headphones here. If I didn't know better, I would say that Okafor looks like, I'm going to take my headphones off for a second.
Okay, sure. You sound great to us, but you're on mute now, so you just have to flip that the other way. Yep, you're still on mute. You just got to flip the switch there.
Yeah, Okafor, if I didn't know better, appears to have been blackballed, right?
Right after that situation, again, that would be my gut. He plays 6 strong years with Pittsburgh, and then there's a late whatever reason that they are no longer. There's a rub there with Pittsburgh, so he ends up moving on to a new team. He's a free agent this past season. After what strangely happened, again, we'll get more into that in a second. He's a free agent, and there were a lot of teams that seemed to go, and then the Jets, again, get him for this deal, which we'll talk about.
Right. And I would tell you this, this is how you win at football. This is how you win at football. You take the time, it's so easy to just discount, double check, this player because of what happened in New England, right? And so you can easily discount him, but we got him for the league minimum, right? It talks about a signing bonus, but that's odd because his salary comes in right about the veteran minimum for a 7-year player. So I'm not sure. I guess that's just the way they manipulate the salary cap. But so doing the research here is so important. And if he's convinced of what he brings to the table, and we'll talk more about his actual abilities here in a minute. If you're convinced that the New England was an anomaly, then this is an amazing signing for a super cheap price with no risk. There's literally no risk with this signing. So I think it's another job in AG We Trust, as I have in my moniker down below.
Yes.
It's a perfect opportunity. This is what you have to do to build winners. This is what you have to do to win today in today's salary cap era, right? When you're going to pay receivers $30-40 million a year, and you're going to pay your quarterback fit. So it's almost like the salary cap's 270-280 million, but what it really is like less than 150 million, right? You take the quarterback off the top, you take the wide receiver off the top, and then you take other player XYZ off the top, the third best player off the top. And now you're like, oh, shit. So we got, now we got 50 people to pay with $150 million with a league minimum of 1.2 million. So you gotta use the 5 Ds of dodgeball to build your roster.
Well, the only thing I was going to point out is Philium, FLPhil98, did a call in a couple weeks ago here on the show and mentioned that same thing. Let's just start talking about the salary cap, right? It's $300 million, whatever it is. It just went up again this year. And he's like, and he did everything you just did: quarterback, running back, wide receiver. Here's the pools. And then all of a sudden you start getting to the bottom of the roster, like, holy blank, we only have this much left. So I think that these kind of deals are important. And for those counting at home, Chuks Okorafor signed a 1-year deal for $1.3 million. Again, veteran minimum for his service time in the league. That is the 45th highest paid right tackle in football, according to Over the Cap, that number. And if we were playing a game today, Chuks would be starting at right tackle for the Jets. Now, obviously, the Jets do not play a game today. There's still this big tentpole event in 19 days, which is the 2025 NFL Draft, which obviously could provide some different options, some alternatives for the Jets at the right tackle position, which maybe changes this. So worst case, he's really good depth. But the other side, I think the Jets got a sneaky starter at right tackle, and I think so many people – because when the Jets signed this guy, I heard so many people call him booty cheeks and, this guy's washed, this guy stinks. And you look at this
booty
guy.
Cheeks?
Yeah, that's a kid term they use. It's, you don't want to know. You don't want to know. But Okorafor, at 27 years of age, he started 60 games in his career. He's appeared in 78. Again, last year, he basically didn't play. He played only in the 12 snaps for the Patriots. Then he had a disagreement. We'll get into that disagreement part in a minute. But from 2020 through 2022, he was the full-time starting right tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers. He played in at least 1,000 snaps in each of those seasons. And when you look at the analytics and you look at it from Pro Football Focus, he was an average pass blocker, and he was an average overall player. Where he graded slightly below average was as a run blocker. So I'm not coming in to say, hey, move over. We just found a all-pro here for $1.3 million. That would surprise me. But the fact that it's hard to find offensive linemen, and you just found a veteran who's still 27. He's not washed. He's not 33. He's not 34. He still has plenty more left in his career here. And the Jets got him on a deal, a 1 year, to prove that Patriots thing, I imagine, was just nonsense. So the Jets get him here for a deal, and then someone's going to have to pay great money for the next year. I would doubt it's the Jets, but who knows? I guess you'd never know what's going to happen in this draft, and maybe his story could be here with the green and white. But not every guy has to be a superstar. You have Olu Fashanu. He was a first-round draft choice, and he performed good during the games that he played. John Simpson was one of the best guards in football, according to the numbers last year. Joe Tippmann was the 8th best center in football, according to the numbers. ABT was incredibly healthy and had a really good year. And then obviously right tackle we're replacing. But if he's just a guy, if he's just average, I think this Jets offensive line could be a top 8 offensive line in football. And if that's true, it helps the running game. It helps the passing game and everything in between. So, again, I think this Chukwuma Okorafor signing is something that everyone is eye rolling. Everyone's looking over it, and there is a legitimate chance that this guy is the starting right tackle when we get to week 1. Again, we will see what happens, obviously, in the draft.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, that's exactly it. And really what you said when you said he was a 45th,
highest paid right tackle in
highest
football.
paid. What he really was is the bottom, right? He's tied for 45th if you look at it in a different way. So every offensive tackle that's paid the minimum that they're required to pay, everyone's getting, right? They're all getting cashier money, right? They're all getting the minimum wage.
Right.
And they just happen to live in different states where the minimum wage is different based on your time in the league.
Sure.
So that's the real way to say it is this dude, we just signed this dude for a minimum wage.
Basically, right? Because the only people would be less, I guess, is rookies. If you have like a 5th round rookie or something,
Nope,
could be.
That's not less because it's the same because you're paying that rookie the minimum wage. So it's a minimum wage.
I understand what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah. Not the Bernie Sanders minimum wage, by the way. Feel the burn. But anyways, so the minimum wage. That's what we got this guy for the minimum wage. Now,
correct. Yes.
We could talk about. Well, I guess we'll get into what happened last year. But I'll tell you this. He has a lot of starts.
Yes.
You said he's essentially been an average offensive lineman.
Yep.
Well, that's money in the bank.
Yeah.
I would tell you that a few, nuggets about this guy is, he hasn't played football as long as most players, right? He didn't even come to the United States until after 2010, 2011.
He's Nigerian, for those who don't
Nigerian,
know. Yes.
right? So he hadn't been to the United States. I'm not sure they play a lot of football, not that kind of football.
Yeah.
Like football in Nigeria, right? And so he came to the United States, played at Western Michigan. Is it Western Michigan? Yeah, Western Michigan University. Mm-hmm. And in a short amount of time, for someone that never played football before, backed up their quarterback who led the set the record for Western Michigan University for passing yards while whatever we call them, ass cheeks, was the quarterback.
Yeah, there you go.
So it is interesting. It definitely is a value signing, in my opinion.
All right,
I did an interview with Zach Terrell, who's the leading passer for all time for Western Michigan. Where Okafor protected him, and he spoke highly of him.
Oh, well, that's good to hear. I'm glad that you have those kind of connections around the league. Speaking of connections, when the Jets signed any free agent this offseason, like if it would have been Patrick Mahomes, maybe I wouldn't have had to reach out to somebody because, that's pretty self-explanatory. But for anyone that sort of had a story, I reached out to people I know that cover the team or were around this player in any way. And I did that for Chukwuma because you hear a lot of weird rumors. Patriots place him on the list. The Patriots coaches say really nothing at the time of why suddenly he left the team. We're all left to speculate. So I reached out to someone in New England. That was the last person to talk to him before he walked out of the building. So there's a little nugget. And this is I said, so what the hell happened? The Jets sign him. I immediately reach out to this guy. So what happened here? And he responds, quote, they tried to make him play LT, left tackle, and he clearly wasn't happy about it. For those that want to look it up, Okorafor at the NFL level has exclusively played right tackle his entire career, full time. And from what I gather from reaching out to people, when the Patriots signed Chukwuma in free agency, they signed him as a right tackle and said that's what he was going to play. Somewhere between them signing him and week 1, they said, hey, Chuks, his nickname, we need you to play left tackle. And I don't know how that conversation went. That is unclear. But Chuks was not very happy about it, but he lined up week 1, played the 12 snaps. It went horrifically wrong for Chuks during that. He got benched, and then they had a very intense disagreement about this. And ultimately, Chuks left the team. Now, right before he left, I didn't include this in the story, but the Patriots reporter told me, because again, he said he was the last person to speak with him before he walked out of the building. He said he didn't want to make excuses for the bad play, those 12 snaps. But he said the position change was difficult. It was hard for him to flip. Again, you're doing the opposite. I always say wiping your ass. So imagine doing that with the other hand. That's a little more difficult. So Chuks said he didn't want to make excuse for his play, but he thought the position switch had something to do with it. So now we're here. So to me, some people are going to call this guy a quitter and everything in between. But if I was signed and told, hey, man, you're going to be doing the same thing you've been doing for the last 6 years. Oh, awesome. Great. And then all of a sudden they say, hey, actually, you're going to be doing this. Like, I guess that's football and you have to do whatever your coaches say. But I could totally understand how that would put him in his mind in a position not to succeed with something he's never done before. So, I don't know where you stand on that, Pop. You probably have a different reaction to that, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I don't know. My intellect and maturity have grown past second grade, so I won't use the ass wiping analogy.
Sure.
But probably a better analogy is if you were driving and all of a sudden we switch which side of the road you're going to drive on.
Yeah,
right?
that'd be difficult,
And
I imagine. Yeah.
that's completely different. And it is key, especially for Okafor or Chucky or Chucky or
Chuks is his
Chuks.
nickname.
Chuks. It is important to recognize, back to what I said before, he has not been playing football very well. And I would tell you the piece that was missing when he was coming out of the NFL Combine, what they talked about, one of his weaknesses that they spoke about was his instincts. And that kind of makes sense because he hasn't played a lot of football. So his instincts are, were behind, right? And so his ability to play football, his natural athleticism, right? And realize this, we're talking about he has average NFL talent. Well, that's pretty freaking good.
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
And so you're asking this guy that hasn't been a driver, go back to the driving analogy. He hasn't been a driver for very long. Now you're asking him to drive on the different side. Every move is different on the other side. All your instinct, you fire off, what are you going to do? And he wasn't able to overcome that. And I would tell you, that wouldn't have happened with the previous New England Patriots. It was a coach who was a pretty good talent evaluator. And you would think if you're going to do something with a player, you have that type of conversation before you sign them. Like, hey, man, we're going to want you to.
There's a chance here.
Play a new position, right? And so I would take and then you do the research. So Aaron Glenn talked to him. He talked to me probably, as I talked about before, in my job, right? My old boss will call me every once in a while. He'll give me a name. And when he's hiring somebody, he's like, hey, man, do you know this guy? And almost without exception, I do. And so he's got to have that person, Aaron Glenn, that he can call and get the behind the scenes story and do the research, because this could be one of the best signings of the Jets of this year or for a bunch of years, right? Where you got somebody that was just out there for everybody to see, and you did the work to bring him in. So I think it's a slam dunk, even if he doesn't start, to have that, the back, as we all know, the backup of the offensive line is very important. So I do understand why he struggled. I don't understand why the Patriots couldn't figure that out. That seems odd. But I would tell you that that the Jets did their homework. They did the analysis, that they have the ability, their offensive line coach, to dissect his tape, right? And I'll tell you that it was only 2 years ago, and it was actually when he was playing for Pittsburgh 2 years ago, he had the best game of his career against the New England Patriots. For those that don't know, PFF analysts analyze every game that every player has, and they get a grade for that game. And so I'm not going to bore you with the specific decimal points, but essentially his highest rated game was 2 years ago, September 2022, against New England Patriots. He had a PFF ranking of 85 for that game for a blocker, which is right. And so what has separated that? The rest of that season, and then the wash season. So I'm telling you, this guy has talent. 85 is a high ranking for PFF.
Quite, yes.
There are some concerns. I'll tell you that, maybe they don't have a lot of bench presses over there in Nigeria. He was a little weak, if you will, on
How
the
many
bench
did he
press
have?
from the combine. He had about as many as I used to be able to do. No, I'm just kidding. He had 19, which is definitely on the low end
Right.
of the spectrum.
And that is 225 pounds for those who don't know.
He did 225 pounds 19 times, and the average offensive lineman candidate at the combine, is in, the average one is in the mid 20s range for doing that, and that's pretty significant. It doesn't sound like a lot, six reps, but
Sure.
that did put him in the bottom, closer to the bottom. I don't think it's, I think the instincts are you got to let him play where he's used to playing based on his experience. You help develop him, and then maybe, as a plug and play for an injury, as opposed to, hey man, you got the keys to the left tackle spot, is not really what he should be.
Yeah, and I would ultimately go back to this. I see some people in the comment section are calling him a quitter. I'm calling him this great signing. To be honest, it doesn't matter what I think, and it doesn't matter what you think. The ultimate thing of why I wanted to wait to tell this story fully, not in just the video short form version, to do a live show on it, was what does Aaron Glenn think? What did Aaron Glenn say? What happened? And Aaron Glenn said, again, unless you missed the video clip earlier, that they did a good amount of investigation into the player, and he said he was comfortable with the answers. Aaron Glenn, everyone has praised him for having a no bullshit meter, that there's no BS, he's a straight shooter, and that's the sort of thing. Do you think if Chuks, when they had this free agent meeting, because they met with him before they signed him, and he said, hey, so what happened there? And he gave some shitty answer, that Aaron Glenn would be like, yeah, okay, we're done here. This isn't happening. So obviously, whatever Chuks said, and we'll see if we ever hear what it was. I was about to say maybe not. That answer is good enough for Aaron Glenn. And if everyone else is going to praise Aaron Glenn for how he handles things and things of that nature, then you have to trust that AG heard the right answers to these very difficult questions. Because again, on the surface, it appears that Chuks was a quitter. And how does he respond to that? So that's, to me, ultimately what it is. So again, salute. I just think that this is a signing that not enough people are talking about. Shout out to the 400 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe. It's a free way to contribute to the show. And we'll see what happens. Again, the draft is in 19 days. Things can change. The Jets could take a right tackle at 7. Could take a right tackle at 42. Who knows where they could take a right tackle? So TBD. Go ahead, Pop.
You know what? You can't handle the truth.
No, perhaps I can't, or perhaps I can. Let's go to... God, there's a lot of them here. There it is.
Quicker.
You can't handle the truth.
There you go. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get better at that. There's like 25 of these in here, and but I do love them all. So yeah, let's keep working.
Chucky just wants his $2.
That would be another way potentially to say that. Yes,
I want my $2.
There he goes. Which, believe it or not, he's making just about that this year, which works out pretty gosh darn well.
The most interesting thing to me is if I was the Jets, and I don't, you don't see this a lot, and there must be reasons for it. So, but I'm gonna assume there's not, so I can talk about it.
Okay.
But why wouldn't you have signed him to a 4-year deal? And what I mean by that
probably
is,
wouldn't have wanted to, I would imagine.
Well, except the fact that he was selling pencils on the corner, right?
Okay.
Like 31 other teams had plenty of runway from when he was cut by the Patriots in February, I believe.
Yeah.
And he could have been signed by that next day. He could have been signed by anybody.
Correct.
When did the Jets sign him?
I think it was an actual free agency. So it was an actual free agent signing. So it was in the free agency period, mid-March.
Right. So like a month, this dude's hanging out. And his hanging out, the bidding war was anyone?
I'm not sure if anyone else was interested.
Right. So I'm just saying you could have offered him a 2-year deal for something similar money with like some incentives and roster. Like you could have developed a contract for no risk for you, that the second year was completely voidable, but available. And I think you would have taken it. You could have had escalator clauses and bonuses for year 2. Year 1, you give them zip and pip. Year 2 is like, hey man, if you did. That's the way that I think they could have thought about it, and you have complete control over year two. I just an opportunity for Gator to get some walking around money.
That would be one way to do it for sure.
Gator needs some walking around money.
But obviously, Aaron Glenn
Yo, this is the OG telling you to keep it real.
kept it real with Chuks. And he said, hey, man, here's what's going on. But I think Chuks and his agent kept it real with the Jets. He's like, hey, man, let's all be honest here. The only reason I'm available for this price is because of what happened last year. So we'll sign for a 1-year deal for slap around money. But next year, we're going to prove to you, Jets, that you guys made a wise investment. I'm going to be an awesome offensive tackle for you this year. And then either you or one of the other 31 teams is going to pay me a big bag of money. I imagine New England won't be one of them. So maybe 30 other teams is going to give me a big bag of money at the end of this. And I think that's going to be making them feel pretty dang good about it.
Once he helps the Jets get to the playoffs.
Well, that could be.
Playoffs? Are you talking about the playoffs?
That could be out. And when you make the playoffs, there's a way to celebrate in all kinds of ways.
Yo, sending lots of love from Dirty Mike and the boys.
So there you go.
Yikes. Got to get a cleanup on aisle 9 there.
That could be. Hey, by the way, let's get a couple of comments in. And thank you, everybody, for all your interactions on the show. A couple of things here, which we appreciate. First off, let's go. Oh, let's get to this one. This one's off the road here. But the Dallas Cowboys made a trade for, speaking of the Patriots, New England Patriots backup quarterback Joe Milton. So the Patriots attached a 7th-round pick to Joe Milton and traded him to the Cowboys for a 5th. Joe Milton was originally drafted with a 6th, so a lot of late rounds swapping around there. You have a new big arm backup quarterback to Dak Prescott. Pops, your thoughts?
Yeah, it was time I was sad to see Cooper Rush go. Frankly, that
you got good money in Baltimore,
an opportunity. Yeah. Right. I mean, there aren't too many backups out there in the NFL with a resume of Cooper Rush, frankly. That's Tyrod Taylor being one of them. So you had to replace him. Obviously, Trey Lance was they evaluated him, and that's not where they were going to go.
Yeah,
and so you get
Joe on a 1-year deal. Yeah.
Yeah. See, by the way, the Chargers. I'm a big fan of the philosophy of their head coach, but I think they might have. They should have probably done what we did for Chuks. Just give it a minute.
The thing I will need to see is, because what has been reported is a 1-year deal with like a maximum value of $6.7 million. Well, that's interesting, but what's the real deal? Is it $500,000, but there's incentives that get it up? I don't know if those details have been out yet. I'll check in a second. But yeah, I saw the 6.7. We would go, huh? On April 5th? Who the hell was bidding? Who else was bidding for Trey Lance? So I want to see the rest of the details.
It's just the state of the NFL right now. Like I saw Snapperhead, right? What did Snapperhead sign for? And Mr. is good. What did he just sign? He just signed
$10 million. $10 million.
Yeah, that is disgusting.
And really solid guaranteed money. I think there's 6.5 or 7 million guaranteed. I thought that was pretty, yeah. And we just heard this. I don't think we would do a full show on it, so we could just talk about it. Yeah, it's a 1-year deal with $6 million fully guaranteed, and it's $10 million. Mike McDaniel came out and said that they identified and targeted Zach Wilson. Like, he was the guy that they're top of the billboard to be the new backup to Tua. And I went, wow, okay, well, maybe Mike McDaniel's this offense genius. Maybe he's going to look like the Jets look like idiots. Like, hey, here's how you operate with a quarterback. And maybe we're all going to be, he'll be the last one laughing, I guess. But
yeah. And I would be inclined to believe that about Zach Wilson, except for one thing.
Okay.
One thing.
Right.
Thing. I would say that if anybody in the NFL that I trusted, there's a few, there's a couple, to evaluate quarterback talent. Sean Payton, right? Yeah, well, Sean Payton is somebody that I trust, right? I trust to evaluate quarterback talent. And right, in his interest, right? He's like, he took a flyer on him, right? for like whatever, Mr. Irrelevant, right? Hey, I'm going to give you some bubblegum wrappers for Zach Wilson. You want to send them over?
And he had him for months, right?
And he had him for months, and he's like, yeah, that bubblegum wrapper tastes like shit.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. $6 million. Oh, $6 million, $10 million. Yeah, he's yours. It was a bidding war. Miami's like, hey, Zach Wilson, we're going to offer you $10 million. I think Denver has the first right of refusal. Hard pass. So, anyways, I think the Milton thing was a good signing. He showed some flashes. I think it's a great opportunity to get him on the rookie contract. It was a nothing for nothing. And if Milton was in the NFL draft coming up in a few weeks, would he be worth a 5th round draft pick? The answer is yes.
Yeah, I just heard that. I can't remember who the analyst was, so excuse me for this. But they asked that, like, if Joe Milton was in this draft, where would he rank? And they said outside the top 6, and they said that would equate to essentially like a 4th or 5th round pick, like in this year. So again, long story short, you bounce some stuff around. Bubble Badshaw says, Paul, I bought my wife a dirty Mike and the Boys shirt last year for Christmas. I thought she was going to cry. She got more emotion over that shirt than when I proposed. Hey, there you go.
Yeah, she probably gets more emotional now about the proposal than she did then.
That probably makes a lot more sense. Here's another one, and wanted to give a shout out because some people may have missed it because it was a weird time. Yesterday, live at 1:00, I had Trevor Sikkema. He is PFF's lead NFL draft analyst on the show. And congrats to Trevor and his wife, Alyssa. They just got married in the Bahamas. Very nice. But Trevor joined us to talk draft. So there is a special, if you go in the live video section, it's also on the audio only version. If you're on the audio podcast, wherever you get your podcast, it says bonus episode with Trevor Sikkema. So you guys can enjoy that. It's like a 30+ minutes of draft talk with a lot of interesting discussions with the Jets. But that is currently in our live section. So if you missed that, which totally makes sense, it was at an unusual time, you guys can go check that back out. And I agree, the NFL Stock Exchange podcast is a must-watch for every fan. I was just going through their wide receiver running back rankings yesterday, their final rankings ahead of the draft, to get some more nuggets, because a lot of people have had questions about the wide receivers. And Pop, speaking of the draft, in 19 days, you'll be on for a chunk during that show. So we're going to have a lot of great guests on that program. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. I'll be live from Abu Dhabi.
Okay. Now, I can't wait. That'll be a good time. So I can't wait for that. That's coming up right around the corner, everybody. So make sure, again, that's also in our YouTube live section there as well. So feel free to jump over there, like the video, and see it. Also, just real quick on the Milton thing. They call them the shouty shows, I guess. But LaShawn McCoy, former Eagles running back, said, hey, Dak Prescott, basically have your head on a swivel because Joe Milton can play, baby. So there's a few people saying Dak Prescott's on alert now after the Joe Milton trade, Pop.
Right. Who?
Yeah, Shady McCoy.
Who?
McCoy. Yeah.
Who?
Yeah.
Who?
I see.
Yeah. No. Tell him to keep his buying for somebody else.
I will not follow up.
Tell him to go dust off his Super Bowl rings.
Yeah, well, actually, I think he does have 1 or 2. I think he was on the reserve team for the Chiefs and Bucks, if I remember correctly. Let me double check that. Yeah, I think
him and Bobby Boucher polishing their Super Bowl rings.
Yeah, let me see. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, he has at least 1. I think he has 2. Yeah, he has 2 rings. There you go. Yeah, he won it with the. Let's see. Yep, I was right. So the Chiefs and the Bucks is a 4th-string backup. Hey, man,
yeah. What's his stats? Did he try?
He didn't have stats. He was not active. I believe either.
So he has the same stats as a towel boy.
But when you're out at the bar and you're 50 and you're like, whoa, Super Bowl ring. Nice. Yeah, I was on the Chiefs. Yeah, I was on the Bucks. They're like, what were your stats? That's normally not a follow-up question. That's like, holy crap, you're world champion. So you see.
Yeah, how many touchdowns did you score? That might be a question asked.
Yeah. It's a blur. I don't know.
Did you wear a uniform? Did you wear a uniform that day? If we saw you, were you in the stands or...
Well, again,
let's practice squad player.
Get some of those rings. A couple of questions coming in. We'll also open up the phone lines a little bit. Deacon Shack here, a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club. Thanks for your support. Paul and Pops, is it bad that I don't want to be responsible round one and draft O-line? I really want to play, make a round one tight end or wide receiver. I'm okay with getting O-line in later rounds. No, I don't think it's bad that you don't want to be responsible, right? Until you're eating your veggies when you draft offensive linemen. It's not sexy, but we all need to do it. I would say normal teams find starting tackles outside of the first round. Of course, the Jets are not a normal team, and they haven't done that in a very long time. But other teams do it all the time. Second round, third round, fourth round, fifth round, sixth round, seventh round. Like, they find ways to get creative to fill these holes, which goes back to my original point about Chuks, about not every starter on your team has to be a superstar, right? Like an automatic first-round pick that was just awesome from day one. That doesn't have to be the story for everyone. And quite frankly, normally it is not the story for everyone because first-round picks are in a rare supply. You don't have 5 years of first-round picks to use all the time on offensive linemen. So, no, I don't think it's irresponsible. The Jets have holes at defensive tackle. They have holes at tight end. They have holes at wide receiver. They have holes all over the place. So it's perfectly reasonable, that they do not take a right tackle 7th overall. It's certainly in the cards. It's in the conversation, I would say. And I hope Chuks gives them some flexibility there. But, you got to take whoever the best player is. But no, again, normal teams can find right tackles specifically, right? That's the lesser of the two. Teams have consistently found right tackles outside of the first round. Hopefully the Jets in this new regime can join that group, Bob.
Yeah, absolutely. And we may get to a little bit in a minute, but I'm torn for the top three needs for me for the draft. I'm not sure that offensive line is there. It's on the edge. It's on the cusp.
Let's just get right into it then. Let's get right into it. On Boy Green Meets Woody, I believe that was the Thursday show, we revealed our top 5 needs for the New York Jets heading into the draft. And me and Woody had a lot of disagreements, which sort of surprised me. So we can ring it back here and go through them and talk about them. To you, give us in any order that you want. You can reveal it as you please. What are your top needs for the Jets heading into the draft at this current moment in time?
Yeah, and not to go make this much bigger than it was, but I would start with where I wouldn't draft people, and then you just kind of narrow it down from there. There is a lot of needs, but there's ones that you just like we don't worry about it. And to me, right now, quarterback's not in the top 3 or top 5 needs, despite Woody. Maybe when your mother dropped you on your head, it impacted Woody because he had the quarterback at number 5, which
he did. Yeah,
that struck me as odd. And then you go, we don't need one in the later rounds. Is there a need there? Maybe. It's all about how comfortable you are. Otherwise, it's a wasted pick with Jordan Travis. Is Jordan Travis going to be something, or is he not going to be something? If you don't think he is, then you draft the quarterback. I don't want to waste a third round pick ish on a quarterback if I think Jordan Travis is going to play out. So I wouldn't go quarterback. Quarterback's not my top. Neither is running back. We have a solid room. Whoever we need at running back, we fill the need to fill a stable. That's 4th, 5th, 6th round. Bring somebody on a flyer. Otherwise, a very solid running back room. But I'm torn between at number 3. I'm torn between.
I'm sorry, you feel so cheated, now that I don't give you the professional voice, guys. So let me correct that immediately with all of our numbers here. Okay, let's see. Let's go. All right, here we go.
Number 3.
Yeah, at number 3, I would tell you that I don't know what I don't know. Just Chooch or whatever his name is. What's our confidence level? What's our plan for him? Because they have one, they're just not sharing it, right?
Of course.
So right. I'm gonna give him the flashback to what I talked about with his PFF ranking of just 2 seasons ago, being one of the best games he's ever played and really solid with the Steelers against the Patriots. I'm gonna say that they have him, right there, almost penciled in as a starter, and so I'm going to go defensive tackle at number 3. I think the need to give Quentin Williams some help on the line. There's 2 or 3 games that were lost because of the inability to plug the middle and stop the run. And, I'm a big fan of Jamian. I may have said his name wrong. Sherwood.
No, you did. You said it right. Yeah.
Okay. and he is lighter in the loafers than some, so he needs a big fatty up there to kind of slow the middle down and let him eat. So I think defensive tackle for me is number 3.
Number 2.
Number 2 and number 1, to me, we're pretty close as to
Interchangeable?
Pretty close, but not interchangeable.
Oh.
All right. To me, there's a clear number 1. And the clear number 2, because we're not there at number 1 yet. So number 2, we got to get a playmaker. We got to get a wide receiver. That's my number 2 need. We cannot possibly. We didn't think, Lazard was, right there. That's why we signed Mike Williams on the red line. And so we need to either do one of a couple things.
Okay.
Fill it, and there's a few players available, I believe, still available. I haven't been watching all the signings or stuff like that. But shy of like signing an Amari Cooper, for example. If you did that, then this drops off for me.
Correct.
Right. But Lazard is not the number 2 that I would bank on. He might be the number 2, but I don't want to put all my chips in the Lazard. I'm not putting all the chips over there. So my number 2 is wide receiver.
And then, of course,
number 1.
Number 1, and to be clear, I'm not, and you'll find out 2 weeks from today.
Ooh, good tease. Yeah.
I am not saying you'll have to wait, tune in, and find out. I'm not telling you that I want the Jets to draft a tight end, which is the number 1 need.
Okay.
I'm not telling you they need to draft a tight end at number 7. I'm not telling you that they won't draft a tight end at number 7. But I'm telling you that the number 1 need, the place where you open up the cupboard, and I was going to quote Andrew Dice Clay and then Mother Hubbard quote, but I will not. But you could Google it. It's worth a Google. Andrew Dice Clay.
Hickory dickory dock.
Right. There you go. The king of comedy. So Little Boy Blue. Anyways.
Yo, Little Boy Blue.
So I think the tight end, the cupboard's empty. Right. Literally the cupboard's empty. And so there's a need there. And that is the biggest need. And by the way, the biggest need may not be necessarily have to be filled by the highest draft pick, if that makes sense.
100% that makes sense. It does not have to. That's how I think personally teams get into trouble. Teams, again, we talked about this last year, the whole Tyron Smith thing, where the Jets are like, oh shit, we need a left tackle. Like, we have nothing if we don't sign Tyron Smith. And that means the worst part is not just that. It's everyone else in the world knows we need a left tackle, which could put you up for failure. 2023, right? Jets desperately needed a tackle. The Pittsburgh Steelers swapped with the New England Patriots right in front of us to take what they thought was the guy we wanted, and Broderick Jones. Broderick Jones has been terrible, so suck that, Pittsburgh. But again, to the point of like, that's where teams get in trouble when they're forcing something in the first round. Like, yeah, there's some other good stuff here, but boy, we need a guard. Boy, we need a quarterback. Boy, we need a tackle. I think that's where trouble looms.
And, it's okay. Not every opportunity, not every decision is going to be a home run. And so if they opted to do creative things, okay, we are trading our 6th round draft pick in 2025 for the backup tight end from the Oakland Raiders or Las Vegas Raiders or whatever they are. Raiders.
Michael Mayer. If
that's what they want to do, and you're like, okay,
cool.
We saw some potential. And by the way, we're getting them on the cheap.
2 years. Yep.
It's very similar to Chuks here. We see what we see because that's how teams do it, right? And one of the most important things that I think Aaron Glenn brings to the table, and I think I've talked about it before, right?
Okay.
Is the ability that he had, right? He was not perfect, right? There are times his defense gave up some points.
Of course.
But what he really, his biggest success for me, for the Detroit Lions, is what he did last year with the injuries.
Correct.
The best player for the Detroit Lions did not play more than 12 games last year. The best talent, the most talented player did not play 12 games.
Yeah.
And you look at how many of their defensive stars were out, how many replacements. his ability to value plug and play talent, and is that is the reason I think the Chuks signing and the other decisions that they've made they're going to surprise you, because he was able to, with bubble gum and duct tape, put together a Detroit defense that propelled them into the playoffs.
Yeah, I was trying to pull up the number. Yeah, they had 24 players. So there was 24 players on injured reserve, most of those coming on the defense. So he just consistently had to keep going back, which is wild to some of those crazy scenarios. We have a couple of super chats coming in here. So first off, Truman Dumel with a YouTube super chat. Every time we get one of those, we hear from my beautiful daughter and your granddaughter, the one and only Zariah Luna.
Wow.
Truman Dumel, appreciate that.
Wow.
You're now in the top 5. You're tied for 5th in our raffle tickets. And I see you didn't attach a comment with this, so I brought up your most recent comment that was before this, so we can highlight it. So, Truman, thank you so much for the super chat. You have 3 raffle tickets to your total. Let's throw it up here. Have you guys heard about the Kyle Pitts trade rumors to move down to 15? If we could do it, Muji should get arrested for grand larceny burglary. And yes, this was an ESPN mock draft trade possibility from Bill Barnwell. Here's the trade. The Jets drop from 7 to 15. They pick up Kyle Pitts and a 3rd-round pick. So, again, Jets get the 1st-round pick swap. They get an additional 3rd-round pick, and they get Kyle Pitts. Now, here's what I'll say. Kyle Pitts, I will double-check this in a second, I believe is entering the final year of his rookie contract, which I believe is that 5th-year option. So that's a sizable figure for Kyle Pitts. So you'd have to walk that through, and that is correct. His 5th-year club option is $10.8 million. That's fully guaranteed. So the Jets would eat that. $10.8 million is a lot of money. Number 2, trading from 7 to 15 is a massive difference in the 1st round. And a 3rd-round pick, I'm not sure, and Kyle Pitts, I don't know if that's enough. I'd want a little bit more personally. I'm intrigued by Kyle Pitts just in the same way I was intrigued by him when he came out of the draft, and the Falcons have been unable to unlock him fully. The Jets have nothing at tight end. I would love to have Kyle Pitts. This is a little rich for me on the mock draft trade. Again, 7 to 15, we pick up a 3rd to pick up Pitts. I'd want a little bit more. If they'd offer their 2, okay, now we're talking. Now we're potentially cooking here. They had another, top 60, top 75 pick to this group. Okay, now we're cooking here. But for a 3rd, I don't know if that's enough. Pops, thoughts?
Give me the trade again that you disagree with.
Okay, so Falcons receive the 7th overall pick. All right, that's it.
Okay.
Jets receive the 15th overall pick, 1st-round pick swap. They get a 3rd-round pick from the Falcons this year, and they get Kyle Pitts.
Oh my God, you are a moron!
What?
You take that every day of the year. You immediately solve the Jets tight end problem. Immediately.
What has Kyle Pitts done in the league, man? This isn't
what he's
about
done in the league. He's done about the same as Tyler Conklin did last year with the Jets. His stats the past 2 years are very similar to Tyler Conklin's. And the difference is the potential is there for more. And you move down a few spots, you pick up a 3rd, 100%. He has 1,000 yards receiving as a tight end.
As a rookie 4 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. Again, the measurables are all there. He's 6'6". He's this unicorn coming out of Florida. Chomp, chomp. Go Gators. But the results have spilled a different story. And this is the last year of his deal. So that means that the Jets would potentially have to immediately pay him. We have a ton of guys we have to pay next year. So now we're playing salary cap bingo here as we're trying to figure all this out. I'm intrigued by Kyle Pitts. We don't have any tight ends, so he's better than what we got because we got Bupkis. But boy, I don't know. I'd want a little bit more from Atlanta because obviously if Atlanta is doing this, they are waving the white flag on the Kyle Pitts project. They're like, yeah, we tried this thing, but yeah, we're going to try to dump him. And if they can use that in a combination to flip into a top 7 pick, that's a massive win for the Falcons. They've obviously, if they do this, they're giving up on Kyle Pitts. He's in the last year of his deal. The $10.8 million. I'm sure if I look that up, I know Trey McBride just became the new highest paid tight end in football, but Kyle Pitts with that figure of 5th-year option is among the highest paid tight ends in football. That's a hefty number. I don't know.
Yeah, you have this weird thing about the 7th to the 15th that most people don't have, and don't tell me your stupid ranking numbers. I don't want to hear about it.
Okay.
7 to 15 is not that far. This is not that talented at a draft. And so, anyways, I
Okay,
think it's a good opportunity.
Well, different strokes, different folks, I suppose. I guess that's what's happening there. All right, let's go to another super chat here. For Lily in Big D, baby is now getting some love here on the program. Okay, perhaps not. Let's see. Get the comment section working again. My apologies. We'll get for Lily your comment up here, and I'll play that super chat. Let's see. Okay, 1 second, Pop. I might have to drop out and drop back in here. I don't know what's happening here. Okay, hang on tight, Pop. I'll be right back here in a second.
Hey, now. Anyways, while Boy Green, hopefully people can hear me in the chat. I don't know where Boy Green has been. Hopefully you can hear me, but all right.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know if you guys could hear me a second ago, but I was having a problem highlighting for Lily and Big D Super Chat, and he just sent in another one. So we'll get to both of those. My apologies. All right, so thank you, Truman Dumel. There we go. Now we got it working
The Truman
again.
Show.
Yep, there we go. Hey, I love that movie. Super underrated. For Lily and Big D, for Lily and Big D with a super chat coming here on the program.
Wow.
For Lily, not counting your newest super chat, which we'll get to in a second, you're up to 6 raffle tickets so far this month. Appreciate it. I read yesterday that Cooper was landed with the Jets. How true do you think that is? Also, Pop, I know you said quarterback was 5th on your list, but would you take Cobb Court in round 4? So let's break these down into a few things. Number one, we did a show on that yesterday. Now that Cooper has landed with the Jets, Kurt Benkert, the longtime former backup quarterback of Aaron Rodgers, he's a former quarterback. I don't want to say long time. He played in the league for like 7-8 years. Hey, more than me, but whatever. Anywho, longtime quarterback turned analyst. He listed all these top Amari Cooper landing spots. And he listed the Jets and explained his whole take. And again, we talked about that on the show yesterday. So it's not true. It's not official or anything of that nature yet. It was more analyst speculation. And then I said, I agree, sort of to what Pop said earlier, that if you add a wide receiver before the draft, you give yourself more flexibility in the draft. You don't have to force anything. And boy, there's a whole lot of nothing at wide receiver next to Garrett Wilson. So I would love a guy like Coop. So it's not how true do I think it is. It's not true as far as everything I know, but I hope it is because I think Amari Cooper is a really talented player. We talk about overreacting to things we just saw. Chuks, right? Last year, terrible. This past year, where Amari had some games, basically he had the same season twice. He had 20 catches, 200-something yards for 2 touchdowns with the Browns. Gets traded to the Bills, 20-something catches, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns with the Bills. And people go, this guy's washed. He sucks at 30. But if you just look back a year before that, he had like 70, 80 catches, 1,200 yards. You're like, wow, there he is. So we have one weird year where he's traded midway through the season, gets thrown on another team, and looks sort of off, and we all just assume he's washed. I think that's totally false. I think Amari has plenty left in the tank, and someone's going to get a steal because obviously now that we're past those initial waves of free agency, he's not going to get anywhere near the money he would have gotten if someone jumped on him early. So I think he's going to be had for a good deal. So we'll start there, Pop. What do you make of the Amari Cooper stuff yesterday?
Yeah, I would do my research. Bring Cooper in for some interviews, some discussions. But let me start that by saying I think you get him on the cheap. I think it's if he still wants to play another year, the team has the balance of power in the negotiations. I think he gets significantly less than some wide receivers have been getting lately based on the past 2 years. You can talk about 3 years ago, and I'm with you about having watched Amari and the talent level he has. But long story short, I think you could have him, $7 to $8 million a year, which, and then complement. I just threw up my mouth. He would complement Lazard, and so neither one would have to carry the full load. So that would be interesting to me. And I think you can get him cheap. So yeah, I would be for Amari Cooper, and then just recognizing what you have, and he's not coming in to challenge Garrett Wilson, which is a good thing. and he would be coming in at the right time to come in as a complimentary player. So I'm for it for the right price.
All right, answer that second part, Pop. You had QB at 5th on your top 5 rankings, I guess, for positional value. But would you be willing to take Syracuse legend Kyle McCord in round 4, which would be pick 110, 110 on your bingo card?
Yeah, so I might have misspoke. Quarterback was not number 5th on my
Woody's
list.
5th.
It was
I
5th
see.
on Woody's
okay.
list.
Yes.
But to answer your question is I would, if I'm at Jets facility and we're having our offensive team breakdown, we put our names up on the board of who we have in our quarterback room. And it's really, where do I see Jordan Travis? Where do I see Jordan Travis? Right? Because picks are important. Picks are worth, money, success, et cetera, et cetera. And if I was thinking that Jordan Travis was closer to the exit ramp, because otherwise, if Jordan Travis is going to work out, if he's going to recuperate from that, the injury that he had, if he's going to be the person we thought we were taking the shot in the dark, if you will, when we drafted him, the Jalen Smith lower price because of it coming off an injury. If we thought that, then I wouldn't draft Kyle McCord. And I like Kyle McCord. I think there's a lot of upside, but I'd have to know what I'm doing with Jordan Travis. If Jordan Travis was, 90, 80, 75%, more than 50% out the door, then yes, I would take an opportunity to draft Kyle McCord. And again, the picks and the needs don't necessarily correlate to the numbers. It depends on the strength of the room and the rankings. For example, and I have not spent this much time looking at, although I intend to, right? If you're available defensive tackles after the first 1 or 2, if they're all bunched up in the middle as far as rankings and skill sets and strength and etc., then if 3 through 12 are comparable, even though it's a need, then I would be okay picking number 10 in the 5th round and let go ahead Kyle McCord, even though the need was more, because I knew I could get what I needed out of it based on the positional rankings. So it really is all about Jordan Travis and what he's going to bring to the table. If we think he's not going to cut it, then I absolutely would draft Kyle McCord in the 4th round. I don't think he's going to be available in the 4th round, but that's my.
Yeah, we'll see. It's very polarizing. I've had some people have him go off in the 3rd round. I've had some people have him go off in the 6th or 7th. So, man, I hope that the league, for Kyle's sake, for the Jets, if they got him in the 7th round, that's the greatest thing since sliced bread. But for Kyle, the human being, I hope for his sake that I do hope for his sake that he gets an opportunity to go as high as possible, because I'm very high on Kyle McCord. Let's get another YouTube super chat in here. This is for Lillian Big D here once again, baby.
Wow.
By the way, for Lily, with all your super chats, you're now in the top 4 with most gifted raffle tickets so far this month. So you have 8 raffle tickets for our big draft contest. I wish I had my Moron Cup. I'd be waving it around, but it hasn't arrived yet. I agree, Pop. So yes, the Boy Green merch store is down in the YouTube description down below. We're also working on some new stuff, so you guys get really excited about that coming up here on the show. But yes. Again, I don't think anyone saw it in the Discord, but my father sent me a text, and I'm just going to try to remember it off of memory. But he just said something like having a text out of nowhere, right? Just like having breakfast. And then there was a picture. There was a Moron Cup of the Moron Cup merch of me being choked as he's enjoying whatever thing he had going on in his life. So I was like, what the hell? And there you go. So the Moron Cup is out there. Yeah, there you go. And enjoy it. Enjoy it, people. Enjoy it.
Yeah, random thought, talking about the draft, and you just talked about Kyle McCord. It made me think back to a few draft moments. I'm going to make a draft prediction.
Oh, wow.
Having nothing to do with the Jets. Okay. So I remember back in the 2005 draft, the free fall of somebody in the green room watching pick after pick, and it kept going to camera on the person. It made me feel very happy. This person, as he sat in the draft room. I won't say who that was in 2005.
Yeah, a cow product. Yeah, I think we all know who you're talking about. That's sort of sick that you enjoyed that, man. What a poor bastard. That was the first ever draft that I remember. And really, I think that's it, where the cameras were on so you have the green room, and you have the guy that's slipping further than anyone thought. Everyone thought he would be the number 1 overall pick. He ends up going, I believe it's 23 or 24, whichever it was. And man, the Susie, not Susie Schuster, that's Rich Eisen's wife, Susie Colbert, I think that's her name, from ESPN. And she went over to him and says, wow, man, must really suck sliding in the draft. He's like, yeah. It does. Like, it was incredibly uncomfortable.
That was
amazing. I think
amazing.
they talk about it in the book too, and on the documentary. Like, oof, that was brutal.
Yeah, the sad one for me was 2 years later when Brady Quinn.
We were in Myrtle Beach at the time.
We were at Coconut Joe's.
Coconut
Joe's at Myrtle Beach. Actually, I think it was in Isle of Palms. But anyways, we disagreed on that before.
Yeah.
So anyways, my prediction.
Oh, okay.
Is the latest triumvirate, the latest addition to this free fall. Is none other than Primetime Son.
Come on,
is the bright lights in big city as he's gonna free fall.
Did you see?
I wish I had the rights to Tom Petty's music, because I would be playing Free Fall.
So you didn't see the pro day? You weren't sold on the pro day yesterday? Rocket launchers, boom! All those great throws. Come on, he's going to be the number 1 overall pick, baby. Nice. Oh, by the way, we're not going to have a show on this. Someone brought this up earlier, but I'll throw it up. Did you see that Andre Cisco, Jets starting safety, took a shot at Shador yesterday? Did you see that?
No.
Okay, let's throw it up here on the big board. I wrote about it because I said, boy, here we go. So let's go to it. So obviously, Shador Sanders, they prefer to call it the Colorado Showcase over the Colorado Pro Day. The Colorado Showcase, as Deion Sanders says. I think it was, it's hard to miss us or something pro day. Like he had a special name for it. A special name for it. See, that's another
you have
one.
A name for it?
Yep. See, that's another one you could sort of work your way in here to.
Secret tickle time. You have a name for it?
So you there, working that in for having a name for it. But it was this. Let me throw this up on the big screen here. So a fan account for Colorado Buffaloes football shared a highlight clip of all of Shador Sanders' big throws during the pro day. And Andre Cisco responded to that, Jet safety, by saying, boy, better stop patting that ball. We break it on that early. Saying, hey, boy, he's giving him a warning that, hey, as someone who's pretty good at intercepting the football, because he was doing a lot of this before every throw, he's just going pop, 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 and then chucking it. And, so some warnings, pal, that he's going to be intercepting some of those.
Well, it's funny that Cisco Nation saw that, because if you look at the analytics and the breakdown and the weakness about Shador Sanders is he holds that ball way too long.
Fair.
Way too long. And maybe because he's so busy patting the pat. Throw the damn ball. By the way, there's no defenders out there, Sally. It's a pro day or whatever the frick you call it. Throw the frickin' ball. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
he did that on the field.
Well, yeah, he had a shitty offensive line. He had to. He was probably seeing ghosts on every play. Like, oh shit! I wonder how long this offensive line is going to hold.
I wonder if Shador is related, because Okafor 0 for 4, 0 for 2, 0 for 2 against football teams from Kansas. That's Shador Sanders' best stat.
Here we go. But on a very serious note, I did want to get to this. Throw this up from Zach Quinn. Jared, hope you guys have been well. My mom died abruptly, been going through a lot. So, Zach, we wanted to send our thoughts and love to you, man. Appreciate you always being in the comment section and things of that nature as a subscriber to this channel. There's no, perfect words anyone could say to you at this time, Zach. We're just thinking about you. That's awful. And so, we're just thinking about you, pal. So just wanted to make sure we put that out there. I saw that earlier. I starred that. I want to make sure that we got back to you to let you know that we are thinking about you, man. And again, life can be incredibly rough and tough sometimes, but you got to lean on your support system, and that's the best thing to do, pal.
Yeah, and it's I am sorry for your loss, Zach, and I would tell you that I've been reflecting. I'm putting some words together for my mother's funeral, which is going to be a week from today, and just some thoughts for everyone. I would tell you that you can never underestimate the value of spending time with family, and then asking them questions. Ask that your parents as many questions as you can, because there's going to come a day when you're going to want to know something, and you didn't ask those questions, and they're not going to be able to answer them anymore. So, anyways,
Yeah. No, I think that's well said, because I've, you just tend to think about that kind of stuff because it was just in the news recently that some family, there was something where something awful happened to here locally in town, and they were talking about that very thing about, I spent time with, I think it was the person's mother, but like the last week or two of life, because it looked like it wasn't going in the right direction, that they started asking, went, wait a second, you were in the Air Force and this time, wait a second, you used to live here and did like a 2-year trip out to Hawaii, California to study this, and they were just telling their stories, and it just inspired me. I'm like, damn, man, there's all kinds of things I probably don't know about my dad, my mom, and other parts of my family that I never asked, and if you don't, then you may never know. So they're just going through stories. It just same thing. It just got my brain kind of jogging about it, about the time. You don't realize it in the moment of, you never know what kind of time that you have. So powerful words there, Pop. Appreciate you sharing those. And yeah, that's it. We haven't talked about a lot. I'm losing my words. I get paid to talk for a living. We haven't talked a lot about it, but the reason why we're doing all these hop and pop shows together, which I cherish and appreciate regardless of the circumstances, everything that you just said about the passing of grandma and your mother specifically. So it'll be nice for us as family to all be together for that. Next week, we'll be doing all those Boy Green Daily shows, and there'll be a lot of hop and pop as the special guest for those programs, which I'm really excited about, which is awesome. But, nothing can prepare you for the swift kick in the loins that the gods give you with deaths in life. They come all the time, unfortunately, and that's a tough one, Zach. So, again, we're thinking about you. There's no proper way to transition from that, Pop, but I want to swing it back to you just to say I have no idea where bacon lights are or anything, because we had all our own conversations to have before going to any phone line action. But I wanted to ask you, is there anything else that you wanted to get to before that, or if you can even get into any of those?
it looks like I have a few minutes for calls. I don't have anything specifically else other than the draft show will be coming in two weeks.
Yes, correct.
My mock draft.
Oh, yes.
Just to be clear, it's always clear in my head.
Mhm.
And then so the draft coming up. By the way, get your raffle tickets.
100%. Again, and another reminder, folks, that you only have 10 days. Most of the time, our raffle goes through the entire month. That's how it's always worked since we've started doing this back in December. But for this month specifically, and I'll try to give a million reminders, this raffle prize, which I'll throw back up here on the screen, is only available to be bid on for the next 10 days. Again, April 15th will be the last day you could submit raffle tickets for our special draft spectacular. That is the official Jets draft hat, the official Jets draft shirt, and the draft day movie. If you want to be eligible for this giveaway, which again will be done at random, whoever has purchased at least one raffle ticket, $2.99, you have a chance. Obviously, the more raffle tickets you purchase, the better your odds are. We will be buying all of of this and shipping it straight to you so you guys can have all these wonderful things, hopefully in theory, before the draft with the shipping gods. Hopefully that all works out timing-wise with what's coming in. So the shirt and hat are brand new. They just came out, so you guys will get the same gear that the Jets draft picks will be wearing. And then I love the Draft Day movie, which I watch every Thursday of draft year for the first round. It's a real treat. So again, if you want to be eligible for that, super chats, memberships, gifting, and then buying your own Boy Green Coffee Club memberships. Those are the three main ways to do it. You guys can also submit money on PayPal or Venmo. It's at BoyGreen25, BOY Green, the color 25. Just please in the message description say, hey, Boy Green, this is for the raffle. I'm Badshaw, I'm Josh, I'm Fred. If maybe your PayPal or Venmo account is not the same as your YouTube name. So just keep that in mind, but you guys can always do that off show hours and things of that nature. A-Step10 loves doing super thanks after shows, so you can do a paid comment. We also keep track of those raffle tickets in that way as well. So any and all of those work, Pop. All right, without further ado, Pop, are you ready to get to the phone lines for a little bit?
Absolutely. Make sure you get your Boy Green merch like
It's
this.
all in the YouTube description down below, as it is for every single video. Quick hep timeout. We'll try to take a few calls here on Boy Green Daily.
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Talking Jets football, man. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. New York Jets Football Club. Offense, defense, special teams, watch Jets football with Boy Green. J-E-T-S, Jets. Let's go.
We have 600 people live in the room, baby. Like the video, hit subscribe, spread the Boy Green Daily Gospel. We're live every single day at 7:30 in the morning. Plus, we're live on Tuesdays and Thursdays for Boy Green Meets Woody at 3 o'clock. And on top of that, you never know when surprise shows will hit us, and I will try to coordinate that with guests. For instance, Trevor Sickman yesterday live at 1 o'clock, the PFF's lead NFL draft analyst. A super fun conversation talking Jets draft, one of the best in the business. You guys could replay those interviews in our live section, and we also have short-form content in our video section. So, folks, content, and more content. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. We've got Hep joining us here off the top. What's up, Hep?
Hey, fellas. Hey, Pop. You know what? I just want to give my my prayers out to Zach and also to both of you. I did about Grandma Eston
Yes.
passing away. Me and you have something in common, Pop. I just lost my dad in September. I guess we're both orphans now. And no one will ever love you like your mother loves you. That's a special kind of love there, you know, and that's something you can't replace. And it's normal to lose your parents. I mean, that's a normal thing. The one I'm worried about is losing my spouse. That's the one I don't know if I'm going to recover from. But on that side, I don't want to be such a bummer. You know, we got to celebrate life, and that's what it is. Be with the people who are here now. But we'll see our loved ones again someday. So don't worry. They'll be waiting there when it's our time.
Yeah.
And Mama Eston's up there with Grandpa now.
Yeah, right.
You know, and that's wonderful, you know. But anyway.
Which, by the way, real quick on that, Hep, just because you bring that up, that certainly reminds me of...
Dan, you're such a pill.
I will tell you that my grandpa, God bless his soul, all the time, my grandma would be like on the recliner or something, and then she would ask my grandpa for a Pepsi, and she'd want it in a glass cup with ice. And then sometimes I'm sure this happens with everybody, right? Like, you know, from a faraway room, right? Your wife goes, honey, grab me this. And then I'm in the room grabbing. He's like, oh, you want some of this? You piece of, you know, right? He's talking shit. And then she definitely did not hear it. But every once in a while she'd go, what'd you just say? She's like, nothing.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
And she would always call him a pill. So yeah, that always got me. She always called him a pill. Yeah.
You're going to be there someday, Paul. You'll see.
Yeah.
Love you guys. So. Peace out.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Hep. But oh my God, there's so many stories. So hopefully we'll get a chance to share some of those next week. But good Lord have mercy. I just remember being with Grandpa in Ohio and some of those kitchens. And oh God. Those are some good memories, some good stories for sure. I miss Grandpa and Grandma for that matter. Unbelievable. Yeah, there you go. I don't know if did she switch at one point? Was Grandma Coke then Pepsi, or was she always Pepsi? What was the
Always
sitch there,
Pepsi.
Pop?
Always
Okay,
Pepsi. Yeah.
always Pepsi. Okay, now because Badshaw was talking about my grandma drank Coke every day of her life. Hey, God bless. Whatever I have another grandpa, and his nickname is Pudge, and he will drink and smoke until the day he gets put into the ground. And hey, that's what he enjoys doing. So hey man, different strokes, different folks. You do what you enjoy in life. Pop.
He drinks coffee.
Oh, okay. There you go. All right, there you go. That sort of mixes up the variety. Bubba Badshaw also wanted to let everybody know that I told you we have that special on the screen. He says, Paul, tell them I donated a draft day on VHS. So
It's
there you
actually
go.
on beta.
Yeah, there you go. Make sure before be kind and rewind. So make sure when you're finished with the film, boop, 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 boop,
Or one of
boop,
those digital discs.
sure. Yeah, right. That could be possible. So Badshaw, noted.
Real to
All right.
real.
Let's get another phone call in here. We got Ricky New York live here on the program. What's up, Ricky?
Hey, how's it going, Paul? How's it going, Pops? First of all, I would like to give my condolences to the gentleman who lost his mother.
Zach, yeah.
That sucks. I've dealt with a lot of that. I've been catching some strays here and there on some of the YouTube shows over this hideous hairstyle that I have going on.
Hideous? I think you got beautiful locks, man. Yeah.
Well, we have a family member that's probably not going to be with us much longer, and so we decided to have a family photo done.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife suggested coloring the hair to get rid of the gray, and well, it didn't come out brown; it came out black. So people have been giving me a little flack about it. Honestly, I've got so much going on with my life that hairstyle just doesn't even rank it, not anywhere. I could care
That's
less.
fair. Yeah.
But that's tough. And I'll tell you what, the best thing you can do is, if there's anything that you want to say, anything, this is my advice to anybody. Don't leave any business unsettled. Don't leave anything unsaid, because I made that mistake with my father, and tried a couple of times. He just wouldn't have it. Anytime I tried to talk, he'd be like, no. But I wish I had didn't make that mistake with my mother. But back in the end of 2011, beginning of 2012, I lost both parents and my godfather and one of my best friends. And I was not in a good way. And that happened to be when I went to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I made the trip and drove up from Florida to Ohio. In the kind of taking everything into consideration, I was in this frame of mind that if there's anything on my bucket list I want to do, I better do it, just in case.
Mm-hmm.
Meeting my favorite football player was right there at the top of my bucket list. And the honest truth is there were a lot of my family members and friends that were very skeptical that I would ever even make it back from that trip. Not that I was suicidal or anything, but I was just, I was being a bit reckless, playing a little fast and loose with the rules, and was not in a good way at all. And I got there, had my plan all planned out. I've told some of this story before. Had the guy that I was in line with, he came behind me and kind of held the line up to give me a chance to talk. And so I got up there, got to meet Curtis. And, when I first started talking to him, I was just like, hey, you always said you used football as a way to reach people and to help people. I just wanted to say thank you. I'm one of those people that your words helped over the years. And hey, you know what? Plan accomplished, check. And then something happened that I just totally did not expect. He looked up at me and he was like, well, what were you going through that you needed my words to help you? And like, he's looking up at me with like this look on his face, like he's genuinely
genuine
interested.
curiosity. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, which I did not expect at all. And all of a sudden, you know, I was like, I'm like trying to think of a way to word it, and I'm just like, you know, how do you keep going when you lose people that are close to you? And as I'm saying it, I'm thinking, this guy has lost close family members to horrible acts of violence. You know, here I am feeling sorry for myself because I had family members that lived long, productive lives, and you know, and was a little bit ashamed of myself. But you know, we had this really kind of surreal conversation, like nothing about football, like was not. I just not anything that I would have expected. My plan went completely off the rails, but it was also a very, very, you know, I don't know how else to say it. It was just a very meaningful conversation.
And you'll never forget that for the rest of your life. That's pretty cool.
No, not at all. And, you know, he wrote on my picture for me my favorite quote of his, which is actually a Winston Churchill quote. If you're going through hell, don't stop.
You ever heard that one, Pop?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure Pop's heard that one. But at any rate, after, you know, eventually they told me to move along, and so me and the guy that I was in line with, we decided to look around the building a little bit because that building wasn't open yet. There wasn't really much in there. But then, like, as we're going to leave, as I'm going to push the door open, I hear somebody yell, "Hey, Ricky." And like, I turn around, and across the room, Curtis is like standing up at the autograph table. And I look over, and he's like, "Whatever you do, don't ever quit. Don't ever give up." And I was just like, again,
he remembered your name. He gave you a message on the way.
I was like, I either made a really good impression or a really bad one. One of the two. But like, I think I just said something lame like, "I won't," and like walked out the door.
Cool.
But yeah, it was probably one of the more important, you know, days of my entire life, and something that I will never forget. And so I found some support from probably the last place I would have ever expected to get it. But
look at that.
Here is that photo with that message. If you're going through hell, don't stop. And that would be my advice to anybody. You know, there's going to be times where things are going to get bad. There's going to be times where, you know, you're going to get kicked while you're down. But the only way to get through it is just to keep on moving, keep on going. And with that, I'm going to get off of here and give some other people a chance to talk because I've been running my mouth far long enough. But
appreciate it, Ricky.
Just wanted to kind of share that. And you guys have a great day. And you know, Pop's pizza bacon light's going to be going off. My pizza light's going off. So it's time for me to eat too. You guys have a great day, man.
Thanks, Ricky. Appreciate that. A powerful story that I'm sure a lot of people are going to be able to resonate with. This next caller, Pop, I don't think you've ever been on at the same time as him, so this should be interesting. Let's bring on James here on the show. What's up, James?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
So, first things first. I wasn't going to call in. I was just listening.
Okay. Yeah.
But condolences to both of you.
Thank you.
And unfortunately, it is a part of life. I lost my mother last September. I'm 35 years old. I lost my father in 2019. So I get it. For the gentleman that lost his mother, you know, just my only recommendation, and it's really helped me out in the last going on 8 months now, is God, man. God and family. Just lean on that and know that the person is in a better place, and I think it was Hep, the first caller, said, one day we will be reunited. And just because they're gone doesn't mean you can't talk to them. It doesn't mean that they're not looking down on you, because they are. And you'll be all right. Tough times don't last, tough people do, and you'll get through it. But just quickly on the Jets, I am all for this Amari Cooper thing. If that happens, I will take that. I'll take that one in a heartbeat. That will open some stuff up for Garrett. And what is he?
Tyler Warren.
What? Come on, you already know.
Yeah. Open things up for Garrett and Tyler Warren, baby. Huh?
You already know. You already know it, BJ. But what is Amari Cooper? What is he? 29, 30?
He's 30, and I can't believe it, because he's lived an incredible football life. Get drafted by the then Oakland Raiders back in the day, and traded to the Cowboys, traded to the Browns, traded to the Bills. Good Lord. And he's only 30, so I still think he's got some tread on the tires.
My question is he a good locker room guy? Why is he always going? Why is he always being shuffled around?
Well,
that's something. That's the one thing we don't need. We don't need any. Of
course,
we have a thing going on right now with this young contingent of players. What are we, like the 4th or 5th youngest team in the league, something like that? So we don't need anybody ruffling feathers or doing anything like that. But if he comes with the right attitude, right mentality, that could help out a lot. Nice chain mover. And Tyler Warren all day. Gentlemen, God bless. Have a good day.
Appreciate you, James.
Yeah, I would just about Amari. I think he, he signed with the Cowboys after the Raiders. It was actually a trade.
He was traded from the Raiders to the Cowboys.
Right. And so, and then, the Cowboys, at some point, everyone's looking for the next bigger, better thing. He signed with the Browns, which obviously
traded. He got traded.
Deshaun Watson debacle. Which, by the way, if we're checking the tote board, somebody said that was the worst signing ever. And that's on record that I said that. Deshaun Watson, trash. Deshaun Watson went to the Puff Daddy School of Baby Oil, apparently. But anyways, I digress. Innocent until proven guilty, unless there's video evidence to show you're guilty as hell. Anyways, Amari Cooper, great locker room presence, quiet guy.
Yes.
The opposite of the prototypical wide receiver.
Correct. Very much so, for people who don't know him. Yeah.
He's been, 10 years in the league. He's over 10,000 yards receiving, and that's with the mediocre at best 250 yards over the past 2 seasons, still over 10,000 yards for his career. So I think, he's not going to, he's kind of a good complement to the current, the wide receiver room right now. I think he could bring a lot, and he may be able to help mentor both Garrett and Malachi.
It could be. I see this comment in here real quick from Joe Boom Jets. Would you get rid of Lashard for Cooper? With all this sadness, I needed to laugh. Right.
Only person that wouldn't want that to happen is Woody all the time.
That's a tender topic, but
you just have to offer. Would you like to trade Lazard? What?
Yeah.
What? Lazard's leaving early today.
Yeah. And so Cooper, just real quick, Cooper had 500 yards receiving last year. Okay. But he had 250 on one team, 250 on the other, 500 total. And then the year before he had 1,200 yards. And then the year before that, he had another 1,200 yards. So again, Cooper, that's why I just say very prisoner of the moment of what's been happening. And that's what's been going on. Pop, for both of us, this show's over. So shout out to the nearly 700 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe. Thanks for the 90 minutes of Hop on Pop here. Appreciate it so much. We'll be back on the show for Boy Green Daily tomorrow morning. I'll also be back on in about an hour. I'm doing this special Jets draft war room board breakdown, everything with people from the draftprofessors.com. That'll be live at 10 o'clock on this channel, on my YouTube and Instagram. So, guys, make sure you check that out. That is at BoyGreen25, BOY, green the color, 25. So we'll be back live on here in about an hour for all kinds of cool draft professor conversation. You guys will be able to comment and do all your normal stuff, gifting, super chats, all that jazz. So I'm looking forward to that. Pop, can't wait. And we'll be chatting very soon.
And Jared, I've got some bacon flavored popcorn that I'll send you a kernel of.
Beautiful. Isn't that magical? Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next time. And again, one more thought out to Zach. We're thinking about you, pal.